He's my protector. I put him on stage every show.
Yeah, I don't have any of that on my end, so I'm breaking strings. On our first time touring the country, our drummer bodied, I think, 3 to 4 smoked brisket sandwiches.
Don't use the toilet after him.
Don't use the toilet after him, because we were all sharing the same hotel room.
Shows of tour. I didn't think anything would come close to the LA show, but this shit was insane.
Hello everybody, I'm Caisen from Jaguar Radio, and today we're with Lowertown, who just killed a crazy set. You guys please introduce yourselves and just tell us about the band.
I'm Olive.
I'm Offsha. Yeah, we're Lowertown.
Please tell us about yourselves.
We met when we were 15. We're both from Atlanta, Georgia, and we met when I transferred to his high school. And we both bonded very quickly because we both like similar music. We're both very annoying in the same ways. And I don't know. We're both a little bit pessimistic and strange.
Yeah, we were in high school, so you feel like everybody, nobody understands you, and then you find somebody who does. So yeah, that's how we became friends.
I wanted to talk a little bit about y'all's freshman album. I know, and I think a little bit of your sophomore. I think y'all were in London recording that, right? Can you guys tell us about London and just how that kind of affected the music and how you've grown from the high school and the independent projects and coming together and making music from Atlanta to London, and just what changed when you guys were there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So actually, the I guess it depends what you call the freshman. The first one, Friends, we did on our own in Atlanta. We did that in like my childhood home basement, and then we did an EP, also kind of like remote. This was like right in the middle of COVID, and then we did the Gaping Mouth, which was the first time we went to London, recorded elsewhere, and yeah, it was a completely different experience. We were 18 at the time, and it was crazy to be working with we worked with Catherine Marks for that EP, and she is an unbelievable producer and so talented and very experienced, and we were not. So it was a really crazy experience to have such a like an experienced, intelligent, like musically adept person take us seriously as musicians.
Yeah, I was also gonna add on, not just a producer, but also just a crazy studio, which we'd never worked outside of a basement before. Mm-hmm. And we also had an engineer, and we'd never lived anywhere outside of Atlanta, and we were in like across the world during a COVID lockdown, which was interesting. It definitely shaped us into the people we are. Like, I wouldn't be who I was without the time we spent recording. It was really cool, and that music was like, I don't know, some of my favorite things I've ever written. But yeah, it felt like a lot of pressure for me at the time when I was really young, and I was really scared because I had a lot of imposter syndrome, and I didn't feel like I was good enough to be in the scenario that I was in. But looking back on it now, like, I don't know, I used to like be very down on myself, like my voice and everything. And also it was interesting because I feel like when you're working just in your home, you feel like you have all the time in the world, versus when you're in a studio, you have like a month to record this thing and to write it and do all these things. So it was different writing under that pressure cooker scenario, which honestly brings out the best in a lot of ways with people. And I'm someone that does work really well under pressure in a lot of scenarios. So I think it brought out the best in both of us, and we would have not written the music we wrote otherwise.
Next, I kind of wanted to talk about the independent projects. I know I'm a big fan of Mantis. I think that there's a lot of gain, and there's soft vocals, which you can definitely see some of the elements of that song are in later songs. I know your first album has a lot of punk aesthetic, but also there are those acoustic sounds that are still present. And then Avsha, I know it's very soft. I like your oh my gosh, one of your albums. I like the vibe of just slow and beautiful. I think your voice is incredible. And when y'all on some of the songs for Lowertown, you do sing, and your voice is incredible in those songs. I know. I believe.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, can't name it off the top of my head. I'm a little nervous right now.
All right.
Let me lock in real quick.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask a little bit about just the evolution between your independent projects and how they've come together and how it affects the band, because there are elements of the punk and the acoustic, and how does working together, how does your independent sounds come together for the band? What what are the elements that each of you bring? Elements do y'all try to stay away from?
Yeah.
And what have you guys learned over the years?
I mean, we've been super lucky, and when we work on our solo projects, it's very clear to us what will be solo music and what will be Lowertown music. I mean, we'll always send each other ideas and like demos and things like that, and be like, "What do you think?" You know, Lowertown question mark question mark. This is in text form, and like we'll both kind of like agree. Okay, this is solo. This is Lowertown, and like we are both musicians in ways that we are constantly making music, nonstop making music, and it's really important that we develop ourselves independently. It kind of like mirrors our friendship even too, where it's very important to develop yourself independently so that when you come together, the relationship is stronger and has better like core pillars that like support it. So because we've been friends for so long, it it takes a lot of kind of like figuring out what works for each person. And like it was so clear to us that like we are musicians. Lowertown is a project we really, really care about, and we don't want to throw every song we ever make into that one. And so like, but we also want to keep on exploring and finding avenues to be creative. And that's kind of where the independent, like the solo stuff came from. It was like Liv had so much music that was like, this is her exploring and like finding her own voice. And I was like, like I love this music so much. She sent it to me. I was like, I love this music so much, but this is obviously Olivia O music. And it kind of came from that. And the same with mine too, where I was like, I wanted to explore my own music and like keep on creating and make I guess give myself the tools to come back to the Lowertown music with something new to offer. So we don't just make Lowertown albums that like have nothing to say.
Yeah, I mean, what he said, we're just both the kinds of people that are constantly writing, no matter what the scenario. And Lowertown, I feel like, is the most refined, highest pressure. Like it is like I put the most pressure on it to be the best that I can be creatively. And it's also for both of us the thing that we've put the most time into and energy into in our lives so far. Like years of our lives, and so there's songs that I'll write and they'll be weird and fun, but they're not on the level of like, this is a Lowertown song. This is me sort of trying something out or trying how to program drums, and then I'll write like a million of those, and some of them will be under my other projects. But the best of the best, the cream of the crop, goes into Lowertown, and if Offsha likes it, then we work on it, and it usually gets into the album, and vice versa.
I will say that it's like when we agree to work on other people or like on each other's music, it's not necessarily, at least for me, like it's not necessarily because it's the better stuff, but it's something that we feel like we can offer and make the song stronger. So like if we come to the other person with an idea, like I think all of Olivia's music is so good and so strong, and but like the Olivia O stuff I can't offer. Like I'm like, this is so obviously your voice, like no need for me to like there's not really an opportunity here, and I want you to like explore this. And that's kind of how the solo music is made.
So I want to talk a little bit about San Antonio. You guys are on tour right now, and you're visiting San Antonio right now. I know you've played in the main stage, and then now both of y'all have played on our small stage. So how does San Antonio feel compared to all the other cities that y'all have been on tour and toured at?
It fucking rocks.
Yeah, San Antonio rocks.
Literally was one of my favorite shows of tour. I didn't think anything would come close to the LA show, but this shit was insane. Like I wish we even had a bigger room, because if there's the same amount of people as there was in the LA venue, like it would have maybe even gone harder. Like people would have been like I don't know, stage driving a lot and shit.
The issue is you can't mosh and stage.
You know, like in a small room because it's like it opens up and then it's like, who's gonna catch me?
Yeah.
Everyone's going crazy. It was so fun. Like it started out with us loading onto stage and everyone chanting, and that just like got me so hype. I was like, oh, like they're down for like whatever we're gonna do. And we were both feeling like, I mean, the whole band, not even just us, like the whole 4-piece, like Manny the drummer and Eva our bassist, like we were all feeling so worn down just because it's been a long tour already, and I just had no idea what to expect tonight. Like it was so hot when we were loading in, and we were all so grumpy, and like I got mad at Offsha like on stage like during sound check over a pick. Like it was like we got in an argument over like a pick, and like we don't get into arguments like that like siblings unless like it's like bad. And so we were all feeling like shit. But then the second we got on stage, I was like, oh, like this is gonna be an insanely awesome show, and it was. And yeah, it was like genuinely so much fun, and I'm like excited to come back here and hopefully even play like a bigger room next time, because then we can stage dive and mosh at the same time. And that, yeah, people fucking moshed, or they crowd surfed to Gaping Mouth, which is the first time we've ever had that happen. Insane.
Some
and
would say
very
it's
fun.
impossible. Some would say
some say it's impossible, but San Antonio defied my expectations of crowd surfing during certain songs.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I will also say, San Antonio really like brought us out of funk a little bit. I think like we were just emotionally pretty like worn out. This is like one of our longest tours we've ever done. Well, not that we've been on it the full time, but like it's a month.
We're almost halfway there.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through, and like we were just really tired. And I don't know. Yeah, it was really exciting, and like a lot of people like came up and seeing out into the main area, the shared space between the big stage and the small stage, and seeing the people who were there for the Sword like looking at us.
Oh yeah, also shout out the Sword. They're the band that shared like the venue with us, and they played the bigger stage, and they were so sick and really nice, and they rock. So
yeah. It was just so cool to see like that crowd, and like also like a much, like our crowd, kind of like younger kids and like, like older rock dudes just like looking at the same thing. It was a very cool thing to see from stage. But yeah, San Antonio really defied my expectations. It's a beautiful city. I'm really happy we got to play here.
So next, I was wondering about Buc-ee's, right? Do you guys have any stories about Buc-ee's? Anything crazy happened in Texas while y'all were visiting?
Oh, okay. I've got a great Texas story. This happened 2 days ago. We were driving through. I think we had just entered Texas, and we needed gas. We have the worst gas mileage of any car ever made, I think. In our car,
and it goes down like every day. It goes down for some reason. We don't know why.
The mileage started at 14.8, and now it's at 13.3, which means that if there's a stretch that Texas often has of no gas stations for like 50 plus miles, we got to freak out right away. So we were being proactive, and we drove into this like kind of small town to get gas. The town was called Iran with 2 A's, Iraan. And we got gas, and then we drove, and there were all of a sudden thousands of deer in the road. And they weren't even like hanging, they weren't even like not like over in the field. They were right on the road, just hanging out, grazing on some cement or something. And
yeah, you had to drive like 5 miles an hour
on
the highway.
It took me so long, because like there would just be these groups of deer, and it ended up becoming this like discourse between me and these deer, because they would look up and look at me, and I'd be like, don't move from where you guys are thinking of moving. And we made it out.
Into the road, or a rabbit would run into the road.
Yeah.
Like it was just insane. Like it was the most deer I've ever seen in my life.
It was a beautiful example of the wildlife that America has to offer, but it was right in front of us, and we could have killed it. So it was not my favorite experience of that.
Also, we ran out of gas on the highway, and we had to coast off of zero gas for 5 or more miles, and we literally like ran on empty to the gas station, and it was insane. We were just like holding our breath, hoping we wouldn't have to walk like miles to the gas station to get gas.
Yeah,
and that was funny.
Cruise control rocks.
Yeah, so you don't have to keep pumping the gas, because it's how you waste gas. Fun fact.
In terms of Buc-ee's,
I have Buc-ee's shoelaces. I have 2 pairs of shoes. I'm not wearing my Buc-ee's shoes right now, but my Converse have Buc-ee's shoelaces. We're big Buc-ee's fans.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had the pleasure of stopping on a Buc-ee's yet, but the first Buc-ee's we come across, we definitely will be enjoying a pulled pork sandwich for sure.
Yeah, actually, you know what? On our first time touring the country, our drummer bodied, I think, 3 to 4 smoked brisket sandwiches. And let me just say, uh,
Don't use the toilet after him.
don't use the toilet after him after 3 to 4 smoked brisket sandwiches, because we were all sharing the same hotel room. Yeah, that's what I'll say about my experience about Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
I noticed on stage today that y'all had dollar bills on the drums. What's up with that? I gotta know, is there like a story or is there anything interesting about that?
Well, our awesome drummer Manny, who's literally one of the sickest people on the face of the planet, had that idea. He has a full money suit that he wore in LA. That's it's just like dollar bills, like shorts and a shirt. But you get like a buyout or like from a venue to like buy dinner or whatever, like some money to like buy food for lunch or dinner. And he started collecting his buyout from the venues and just like taping it to the drums because he's like, we're baller. And yeah, it's just sort of the element, like Lowertown is an awesome and baller and swag band, so he's just trying to like embody that and show it on the
Yeah.
outside. Like we already know it spiritually, but on the outside now,
It's an
it really
institution
is,
almost. It's an institution of wealth and prosperity. We limited everybody to one suitcase, and he absolutely chocked full his suitcase of the dopest outfits I've ever seen, including a full money suit. This is like crucial clothes you have to wear, like stuff. Make sure you're comfortable, make sure you can wear stuff on stage. And he pulled up and he was like, "Check this thing out that I brought, full money suit." And he became our $1 million man. And that's Emmanuel Pennington.
And did I notice a frog plush as well on the amp?
Yes.
What's the story behind the frog
So
plush?
I actually may have access to him.
You might have put it in your guitar case.
He's my protector. I put him on stage every show, whether it be Lowertown or Olivia O, because he makes sure everything's okay. And sometimes you need someone to watch after you and give you good energy. And he's a totem of good energy and good luck.
Yeah, I don't have any of that on my end, so I'm breaking strings.
Yeah, he breaks like a string like every show.
Over my chords. Okay. I'm breaking strings. I'm tripping over my chords. I have no protector. This trusty guy is awesome, but there's nothing that sits atop of it watching me from behind. So yeah, I'm breaking strings. I'm tripping. I'm breaking my shoes. I just it's a dangerous
sucking, just playing horribly all the time.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game I play, but when it's good, it's really good.
Next, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about maybe the future plans y'all had. I know, Olivia, you have Child Star and some other projects that you're dipping your toes into. Avsha, I noticed that you are doing a little bit of modeling. What's up with that? That's exciting, right? And
yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing some modeling lately. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of came up out of nowhere, and I didn't put a lot of stock into it. We were touring in Europe, and like an agency reached out to me when we were in Germany, and it was actually pretty awesome. They were like, "Okay, let's check you out. Let's see what you're all about." And I was like, "Come to the show." And we played the worst show of all time.
Literally, like we all like got off stage and like cried.
We got 7 minutes through. We played 1.5 songs, and then the bass amp shit the bed and went, and then the most people you've ever seen in your life started coming on stage. 1, 2, 3. The stage was full of people trying to looking at this amp in the middle of us playing. We didn't even stop. It was just like this guy who went like.
Not to mention we literally got 0 hours of sleep and like had to fly there that day, and like I was like off an Ambien still, like feeling like I needed to throw up. It was horrible.
It was awesome. It was like a dad convention of like dads trying to figure something out in the neighborhood. You know, they were all like this, like could be dad or I don't know, but it was in the middle of our set.
No one figured it out.
Yeah, but yeah, I ended up signing with them, and yeah, I've done some modeling and modeling. What?
Oh, you're gonna drop piano?
Oh yeah. I'm doing a classical piano album. I also I scored a movie which I'm a little bit more proud of than I mean, I'm proud of the modeling too, but I scored a movie called October Crow that's really sick. Yeah, that's my solo thing. And you got your child star, you know.
Yeah, I just have been writing a lot of music the past few years, and I'm really dysfunctional, so I have no way. Like, I love to write music and make stuff, but I hate to put it out. It's so boring to put things out because it's just like all the boring stuff of like uploading it and like posting about like ugh. But I'm starting to do that because I realize like I should, and so yeah, I've been working on music with one of the people that plays bass for us from time to time, Sean Henry. That's Child Star. And then Insomniac is a project that I've been wanting to make for over 3 or 4 years, and I've finally gotten around to making it. It's just a different vibe from everything else, and yeah, I have a lot of like instrumental and more spoken word stuff on there. But I'm also I've been working on like more electronic music too, wherever I find a way to put that out, and been doing some video stuff as well. But yeah, just always busy. Because when you're not, idle hands make the devil's.
The devil's plaything.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So I've got two more questions, Olivia. The first is I noticed that when you're on stage doing your independent touring as Olivia O, that you're mixing on stage and almost creating a song, like a special new song every time on stage. And I thought that was a really interesting idea. So I kind of wanted to ask you, how did you start doing that? What's the inspiration behind everything? And just kind of getting the scoop on that.
So I've realized for me as a performer, I get I like to be on the edge of failure or something great. And I get super bored and dissociated if I'm not pushing myself a little bit over the edge. And also David Bowie says that you should do that too. You should always be a little out of your depth. And for Lowertown, that shit's like enough for me. Like I can't do that's like my max. Like it's very engaging the whole set all the way through, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. Um for me with my solo stuff, it's just me up there most of the time. And if I'm just playing the same songs over and over on an acoustic, it's very nice and it's beautiful, but sometimes my ADHD brain will literally send me to any other place in the world. So I found that once I got the songs down and I can play them like in my sleep, I like to make it challenging for myself. And I thought that the best way to do that would be incorporating loops, um, which I use both my feet. I use my left for my vocal pedal and my right for my guitar pedals. And I like to loop my guitar pedals and also my voice, or my guitar and my voice. And I think it also just, I feel like for Lowertown, our songs are very different than the recorded ones. And I think for Olivia O, I honestly try to make the song sound different than the recorded. It's more fun that way. I think live is a whole different art to do. And I think it's fun to make it a whole experience that you can only see live instead of, on your phone or whatever the heck. So that is my scoop.
Next up, I wanted to talk about Daniel Johnston. I've seen it everywhere on YouTube. I know you love to cover Daniel Johnston. So what's up with Daniel Johnston? How has he inspired you guys and made you guys the musicians you are now?
Yeah, Daniel Johnston is probably the most inspirational musician to me that has ever lived, I think. I think that I remember listening to Walking the Cow when I was really young and I didn't really understand it. Like many people, I think at least many people of my age, we kind of first introduced to him through Guitar Hero because Kurt Cobain's playable character had the Hi How Are You shirt on. But I think I watched the documentary pretty early, and the Devil and Daniel Johnston, and it completely like shook me. I'd never seen something like so beautiful and crazy just in that documentary, like inspiring and beautiful. And also just somebody who didn't care so much about like traditional forms of musicianship, and it was just very much pure music and pure creativity. And I recommend that movie to everybody who I meet who's starting music, uh, who thinks that they need to be traditional performers, or like you need to start being, like figuring out the guitar chords and stuff. You really don't have to start doing anything, and this is how it spoke to me, is that you don't have to start in any traditional way. You can do it any way you want to, and people will feel the emotion and will feel you in the music if it's honest. And and that was the main thing he like inspired me to do, was just like, even if I'm in the middle of working on something and I hate it, if I feel like it's genuine, it it is probably good. And you finish it and you leave it, and then you be confident as shit about it. You like, he really was a shooter for his own stuff, more so than anybody I've ever met. And like putting your mixtapes in McDonald's bags and like saying on interviews, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to be famous, you're going to hear my music soon. Like that kind of sheer confidence is so important. And yeah, his confidence and his pure musicianship like inspired me to make music, and brought me up when I was like low on my playing. And even on this tour, uh, I opened up last show as Offsha, and it was the first time I've played in outside of New York as Offsha and my solo project, and I was very like, yeah, it was like emotional for me, and I was thinking a lot about him just 2 days ago.
Yeah, he's also one of my favorite musicians of all time. And that movie, The Devil and Daniel Johnston, I literally recommend it to every single person that makes music or art or anything at all. It is one of my favorite movies, and it genuinely did change my life, and that's like not me exaggerating. I watched that right before I did my first big Olivia O tour, and I like really, I'm not built to perform. That is something I've cultivated in myself over time, and I really enjoy it now. But I'm naturally a very, very shy person, and really have a hard time with people perceiving me. And I used to be so genuinely tortured every single time I had to perform. Like, I would have to become a different person in a very detrimental way. Like, my mental health was very, very bad for many of the years we were touring. But after watching that movie, and he does not know how to play guitar. He never learned how to play guitar, but he plays guitar like a fucking boss, and sings like a fucking boss, and like commands the audience, and just has this faith in himself and what he's doing and the message of what he's saying. I also love how childlike he is in everything. I think once you lose your childlike instinct with art, it's just, it sucks. Like, you can see when musicians, that like used to be your favorite musicians, like by their fourth album, like their soul is gone and they've become very, very corporate. And I hope this video is not like shown up like 20 years down the road and they're like, hey, look at them now. But yeah, like you can tell that the childlike instinct and wonder and the naivete that they had approaching the world and with creating is gone, and the focus is on something else that doesn't matter at all. And he never lost that. Like, that was all he was just this childlike wonder for what he made. And also his art really inspires my art a lot. Before I even watched that movie, like, I did a lot of art in that style, and then I watched that movie showing a bunch of his stuff, and we have a lot of similar themes in our art that just occurred even without me knowing or that much about it, which really surprised me and really, um, I don't know, connected with me. But yeah, he's like literally one of the best artists ever. Last year when I was really depressed, like one of my lowest points, I literally just like walk up and down the street and just listen to him and like cry, because he was someone at the time who really was not understood, um, and was very much an outsider. And it just shows how he inspired so many artists and so many people's favorite artists. And yeah, he just always was his own biggest champion. He was also, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough said. He's awesome. He's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for allowing us to come interview you. You guys had a great show. I really appreciate you guys coming to San Antonio. It's great to see talent come to San Antonio and just supporting our scene here. And so Thank you guys. Thank you, Lowertown, and have a good night, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Are we good to go?